It's 10:30. Calling the meeting to order. The technical committee in attendance. I think Jan has taken the attendance, and looks like Mark just joined us. Good morning, Mark.
Morning.
Thank you.
Hello.
And,
hi there.
Now, I don't know if you know everybody or most of us. I'm sure you do. I wonder will be good for us. Anybody maybe? Okay, we have people joining us as we speak. Maybe I think it's a good opportunity for us just to go around the space to introduce ourselves to Mark and vice versa. There may be a few people that you don't know. I'm sure you know most of us anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let me just start, and then whoever will just keep going. We've met 3 times. Mark,
yes.
Yeah, I was the city educator.
Yes.
Hi. Commission executive director, and good to have you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Mark, you and I have known each other for 20 years, so I'll pass on the introduction.
We have, yes.
All righty.
Next, we'll just
I think it's probably Craig Schonweiler is relatively new with the city of Bloomington. So Craig, if you could introduce yourself. We have Mark Peterson with us now as the interim general manager. Yeah.
Well, you want me to introduce myself?
Please do.
Okay, Craig Schonweiler, city engineer for Bloomington.
Hi, Craig.
All right.
And perhaps the 2 District 5 representatives. Mark, you may not have met them. So Bob, if you could identify yourselves, please.
Dan McGee, District 5, Paris, Federal Aid Coordinator.
Hi, Dan.
Hello.
I'm Bob Nelson, Planning Services Chief from District 5.
Hi, Bob.
And you know JD from Federal Highways?
I don't know that I know him. I don't know that we've met.
Okay.
No, I'm not sure either, Mark.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm JD Stevenson. I'm the Planning, Environment, and Right-of-Way Team Leader for Federal Highway and Springfield office. So,
Oh,
nice
fabulous. Good to meet you, JD.
And anybody else from either IDOT or federal agencies?
Yeah, Tom Caldwell, IDOT Planning Bureau.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And Craig, this is interesting because you're wandering Bloomington. So last I knew, you were in Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah, I went the wrong direction.
That's okay. You know, I told people over Champaign the other day that I was confused. Yeah, that's the same Craig. No.
Yeah.
We hope to see you. We hope to see you here someday.
Yeah. I'm glad to work again with you folks.
Okay, I think we cover everybody. And Mark, if you don't mind, just introduce yourself and
Sure. My name is Mark Peterson. I am the interim general manager at Connect Transit. In fact, I got to get out on a route here pretty quick. I'm driving now. You know, they've got me doing everything. Not really, but I've been here in this position for a little over a month. Just trying to sort of keep the buses steered in the right direction. Although great staff here, they don't need me a lot with operations, so I'm working primarily on some projects that have been that are ongoing here. Some construction projects on the property and some other high-profile projects in the community. In a previous life, I was the city manager of Normal for a few years. I know Wayne Aldrich, and I know Kevin. I've met Kevin before. So this is I failed retirement again, but I'm enjoying it. It's been fun so far, and again, the staff out here is just terrific, and they've been very supportive, and I don't have to do a whole heck of a lot, which is the way I want to keep it. I work about 20 hours a week. I usually come in the mornings, depending on meeting schedule, sometimes have to stop by in the afternoon, but I'm generally close to 20 hours a week, and we'll continue to do that for the next few months. The board will be approving, we hope, approving a contract with an executive search firm on Tuesday of next week to begin a national search for a permanent general manager. So I will hang around probably until that process is completed. So I'm anxious for that to get going. But nice to be here. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, welcome. Your time allows to see you, watch you. Let's go back to the agenda. The public comments. Did you receive any public comments?
No, we've had no public comments, no request to participate in or, audit this meeting, and nothing has come in through my email. So no one wants to talk to us right at the moment.
Okay, next is the approval minutes of the November 13th meeting. Hope you got a chance to review the minutes. If you have any questions or anything, otherwise I'll take a motion.
Thanks, Dan.
To approve, I suppose, Dan, correct? Okay. Second by Wayne, second. And all in favor, please say aye or wave your hands. Say the names. Who are on the call, please.
Okay. We have a.
Okay. And take it none. Yay. So it's approved for the November 13th meeting minutes. Going down on the agenda, next item is for amendment number 11 to the TIP. I now have Bob to explain, give us a little background on that, if you don't mind, Bob.
Excuse me. You're asking about the amendment, right?
Yeah, you would just start for the group's sake, if you could just give us a little background on this project or the amendment.
Excuse me, could you repeat?
Can you explain the amendment, what the purpose is for? The one on the agenda.
Yes.
Item number 5 for amendment number 11.
Yeah, this amendment is bridge joint replacement, and it has 3 locations that are in the planning area. And I believe the 3 locations are on I-55, I-74. And then the rest of the contracts in DeWitt County. So that, and the amount that I have shown on the tip sheet is the amount for the 3 locations here in the planning area. And then you can see what the total cost is for the whole contract in the comments.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the group? Seeing none, I'm ready to take a motion. Does anybody make a motion? Okay, Jerry's make a motion to approve. Take it. Second by Dan. Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand or say your name if you're on the call.
Okay. I can see Jerry.
Aye.
Okay. So it's been approved unanimously. In statistics, item number 5, and then I'll let Jen to talk about item number 6 on the agenda.
As you know, we raised this earlier in the fall, and I think it was in October, actually. I'm sorry, November. And I just want to reemphasize that this committee has the option of making a recommendation to the policy committee regarding this, and then policy will execute one way or the other. Just a brief background, 2 years ago when this came up, the state was doing its target setting for the first time, so it was a big, hairy process. And pretty much universally, with the exception, of course, of Champaign County, the MPOs around the state, or at least the smaller ones, elected to essentially endorse the state targets for achievement of the, or at least interim achievement of the federally promulgated performance measures. So, and we did that then, basically with the sort of statement adjoining it that said, to the extent that we locally can contribute, we are happy to do so. But in terms of the specific target, let's just say it was 2% for the state. It's not a meaningful number for an MPO of our size. So if you're reducing fatalities by 2%, and in the previous 5 years, you've had an average of 4 per year, that gets you a tiny fraction of somebody not dying. That's not helpful. For our purposes, changes in whole numbers are helpful, but that's largely what people did in 2018. Unless there is something specific that you all want to see sort of tied down to a target with respect to the performance measures that we've adopted. We accepted the federal performance measures because we don't have a choice. And if there's anything else you want to add in that you think is important that we track in this and target in this very specific way, we can do that as well. Anyone have a thought on what your preferences might be? No. Again, in 2018, virtually everybody took the easy road and adopted the state targets, again with the proviso that there's only so much we could do, but we'll do it in whatever form we can. The other thing to keep in mind is that several of the performance measures that are identified here are actually limited to state and federal jurisdiction. So you're talking about information collected regarding facilities that we don't control. And in those cases, there's not like there's much we can do directly, but we can be encouraging. I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to work. On things like the fatalities and serious injuries, we do have a stake in that, and that does apply across the board. So that one is important, obviously. Any thoughts at this stage? Going once, going twice. Okay. The path of least resistance is to do what we did 2 years ago, unless any of you have or have come to you in the next, say, by the time we meet in January, which is the 22nd, so it's later than we've been doing recently. It would be nice to get this decided in January. So a recommendation from the technical committee going to the policy committee at the end of January. That gives you plenty of time to think it over. If there is something you want to specify directly as a target here for Bloomington Normal. Does anyone feel like they might want to do that? I don't see a whole lot of raising of hands here. Can I take it as possibly the consensus that the technical committee does not feel a need to go beyond the state targets and the acceptance thereof, and does not wish to add additional targets for the local regional area?
Should we put it on as an action item for January, or that there's not voting?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. This is just a discussion today. If that consensus assumption is correct, what we would do is put this on the January agenda as an action item for you to say, we're accepting the state targets, and we'll send you language that explains exactly what that means, and then we can get into policy on those terms in the end of January. That does still leave you some time to see if something strikes you that you would want to identify specifically. If you feel that's got some utility for us as a region, as the county, we have Brian Trigg joining us. That's nice.
Yep.
Toward the end, Brian, sorry. So is everyone happy with the idea that we will have an action item to take a vote in January on accepting the state targets? Dan keeps nodding.
Maybe I should say it
Really
this
want us to do
way.
this.
If there's any objections, then we can just go ahead and put this on the agenda as an action item for January. No objections, right? I don't see. Okay.
If something comes to you, let us know, let me know, and we'll circulate it to the group and people can decide whether or not they feel good about it, or we'll come up with something in the agenda if there is in fact a suggestion. As it stands right now, we will have acceptance of the state targets on the January agenda for this group and then doing a recommendation to the policy committee.
Okay.
Good? Cool.
Okay. Moving on. Next item on the agenda is that which may arise. Any projects, issues, anybody wants to talk about?
Jennifer, or Ray or Jennifer, I have a question. And again, I'm just getting up to speed. I'm assuming that the downtown Bloomington Transfer Center project is on the tip.
Yes.
Okay, and I probably were just in the process of sort of updating and revising that schedule. So I want to make sure that that is consistent in terms of the phases of the project with what's on the tip. I don't have that in front of me, so I don't know what it says, but I will talk with you, Jennifer, to make sure that where we're headed is consistent with what's reflected on the plan. And that project will start, we believe, picking up steam here in January. Things will start moving forward, hopefully expeditiously. So we'll want to make sure that we're that our plans are consistent with what's on the transportation improvement plan.
Yeah, and that's no problem.
Okay.
Do you have? I don't have a sense as a member of the steering committee of how the end game works on this. If there's a recommendation to be made and to whom?
Yeah, in fact, we need to pull that steering committee together, as I understand it, and we will talk about that. But we're still in the site review phase, and we'll be announcing, we think, in January, the 3 final sites that have been identified as the best candidates. And then, so we'll continue to receive input on sites and then move quickly into an acquisition phase as that's wrapping up. So we need to get that steering committee together and bring them up to date, because they will certainly be involved in that process.
Are you also, do you need to go to the city before that comes to an end in terms of confirmation? Okay.
We both have, both state and federal will be, we're already communicating to make sure that we're in full compliance with their, as you know, with particularly the acquisition phase, there are lots of hoops to jump through. So we're trying to get up to speed on what we need to do. And we've just brought on a project manager, a local guy named Terry Reed. Some of you may know him. He's done a lot of project work for other, certainly central and regional airport and other private and public sector organizations in town. So Terry will be helping to make sure that we're in compliance. That's all.
Does anybody have questions or comments for Mark, as long as we have him?
And Brian, while we have you here, I don't know, Mark, have you met Brian before?
I'm sorry?
Brian, I don't know if you have
Brian
met
Trigg.
Craig, who just joined.
Brian,
Who's that?
explain who you are.
What's that?
Can you just briefly introduce yourself? We have a new person on board.
Brian.
I'm Brian Trigg. I'm the local roads engineer in District 5. Dan McGee works for me as the federal aid coordinator. So I don't know if you can see me, because I don't know if I have a camera or not.
You don't.
So we have Brian, thank you.
Okay.
Mark Peterson joining us this morning. He's the interim general manager for the Connect Transit. Okay, anybody else, any other items, issues, projects want to discuss? This is the last technical committee of the year.
That's really festive, gotta say.
All right, seeing none. Our next scheduled meeting will be next year, January 22nd, as Jen stated earlier. So we'll be sending our agenda. Definitely we'll put the performance measures items on the agenda for actions by the committee. And so with that, I'll take a motion for adjournment. Okay, Kevin, and then second by Dan. All in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand.
Bye.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Some of you will see you next week at the policy committee meeting. And the other ones, wish you a happy holidays and we'll see you next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy